YouTube, this is Unger to the Max here, coming at you with a quick video because I need to vent about something. So I just happened, to come down into my man cave and turn on WWE Monday Night Raw. And the match that was on was Shayna Bayzler against Sasha Banks. Now, it was a non-title match, but as of last week, Sasha Banks is the Raw Women's Champion. So maybe if Shayna Bayzler had won this match, she would have gotten a title match against Banks at SummerSlam. However, WWE decided to be assholes and not even do a clean finish. Not even a surprise roll-up, which I hate those too because WWE uses those way too often. But instead, Shayna Bayzler and Asuka were trading submission maneuvers, and it was a really, really good match. When highlights are posted, go and watch it. It's a good match. But how did WWE choose to have the match end? By having Asuka come out. Her music did not hit. She just came running down the ramp and attacked Bayley. And then after that, she jumps in the ring and tries to attack Sasha Banks. But Sasha Banks decided to be a wussy and escape. And not even try to fight back. What type of champion is that, huh? Now, I could see it setting up where at SummerSlam, it's a triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship, possibly, between Sasha Banks, Asuka, and Shayna Bayzler. But here's an interesting stipulation that you could put on the match, and maybe create a storyline by banning Bayley from ringside. That could create a storyline that possibly drives Sasha Banks and Bayley apart. Or it could at least help to add to that storyline. Because I think, slowly but surely, WWE is still trying to create that storyline. It's just taking a little bit longer than I expected. Because if you remember in my last video where I discussed the WWE, I thought that the plan that WWE was trying to do was create a feud between Sasha Banks and Bayley for one of the two championships. Doesn't matter, Raw Women's Championship or SmackDown Women's Championship, which would eventually end in a match between the two of them at SummerSlam. But by the way WWE is going, that doesn't appear to be the case. However, I don't think that means we're veering completely away from that storyline. Maybe WWE is just taking a different route to get there, which I'm interested. There's not a lot of storylines in WWE that I'm interested in right now, but the whole Sasha Banks and Bayley, Shayna Bayzler, Asuka storyline that seems to be developing, I am interested in. And the other storyline that I'm actually interested in is the whole Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman storyline. Because at the end of SmackDown last week, after Nikki Cross lost the match to Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Alexa tried to calm Nikki Cross down, and Nikki just wasn't having it. And, Nikki pushed Alexa to the ground and stormed out. So I think WWE is trying to create a feud there where Nikki Cross is going back to her old crazy personality. And I think they're going to turn Alexa Bliss heel. Although I'm not 100% sure about that. But that's my prediction, because what happened is Alexa Bliss was left alone in the ring, and the lights started to go out, and you heard the eerie music, and the lights turned red, and who was in the ring? The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. And he looked at his two gloves, and I had a feeling he was probably going to use the mandible claw, and that's exactly what he did. He started bringing his hand closer and closer and closer to Alexa, and this was the hurt ring, by the way, or hurt glove, not ring. I don't know where I got ring from. And he applied the mandible claw. And as he was doing that, you could hear Bray Wyatt yelling, "Strowman! Strowman!" And that's in reference to what happened at the Swamp Fight. Now again, I don't have WWE Network, so I didn't watch the Wyatt Swamp Fight. But I was able to watch the highlights. And one of the things that was on there was Alexa Bliss was shown as Sister Abigail. Now that's in reference to the Mixed Tag Team Challenge when Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss were on a team. And they had really good chemistry. So I don't know if, they're bringing Alexa Bliss into the storyline simply to have her be Sister Abigail, or if this was WWE's way of turning her heel and creating a storyline between a heel Alexa Bliss and babyface Nikki Cross. And it, like I said, it does seem like that's the direction WWE is going in. But if using the Fiend to turn Alexa Bliss heel is the route they're going, I like it. Because that's exactly what happened with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins was the Universal Champion. And then what happened? He had the whole Hell in a Cell debacle, which I still don't understand why WWE chose to end the match like that. But overall, Seth ended up dropping the ring, or dropping the championship. I don't know why I keep saying ring. He ended up Seth Rollins ended up dropping the Universal Championship to the Fiend Bray Wyatt. And what happened once Seth Rollins dropped the championship? He took on his Monday Night Messiah gimmick and turned heel. And he's been on good feuds with Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, although it appears like that feud is not over. And interestingly, so Sasha Banks just threw Bayley into a match for next week, where if Asuka beats Bayley, then Asuka gets her rematch, I guess at SummerSlam. So, interesting. I think WWE still might be trying to create the storyline of driving Sasha Banks and Bayley apart. So, yeah. But I thought that after everything that I described with how the Shayna Bayzler against Sasha Banks match ended, that we would come back from commercial break and it would be a tag team match with Sasha Banks and Asuka on one side, and Bayley and Sasha Banks, the women's tag team champions, on the other side. But I guess that's not what WWE wanted to do. So, yeah, that's going to do it for this quick WWE reaction. I'm Unger to the Max, signing off.